This is an absolutely beautiful venue. And before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you to the business community of Grand Rapids for such a warm welcome for our team. It's been a lot of fun being part of this. Carol, before we get started, I have a really serious question.
Okay.
The boot.
The boot.
What happened?
I
Nothing
have
serious.
nothing exciting to tell any of you except for later.
Okay.
And this was elective.
Okay.
So I'm all good.
Wasn't
I
a
actually played, my doctor is not in the audience. I actually played golf a couple weeks ago, just chipped and putted.
Okay.
That's all I did.
Working
But
out.
it's all good.
Good. Okay. So first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations to you as well as your co-chairs, Dick DeVos, Tom, on amazing success for Grand Action 2.0.
Thank you.
The name Grand Action 2.0 implies that there was a predecessor organization. So do me a favor, give us a little bit of the historical perspective there and how that mission, really informs the work you're doing today.
Be happy to. You always say you have to know where you've been to know where you're going, right? So back in 1993, three gentlemen by the name of Dick DeVos, the late John Canepa, and the late David Fry began Grand Vision. That they envisioned this public-private entity in which brought the Van Andel Arena, which was such a huge catalyst for our downtown area. For those of you who were born and raised in West Michigan like I was, you did not go downtown very much. There was Herpelsheimer's. I remember my mom shopped at Inger Shoes, and that was really about it. And then in 1993, they had this beautiful concept of the public-private entity, and there spawned the Van Andel Arena. From Grand Vision, then, they sort of restructured. It became Grand Action, in which three co-chairs then expanded it to a board of which I sat on. We took a little hiatus, which was a good thing. It rebooted us to get us thinking about the future. And then obviously we lost two of our members, unfortunately, the late John Canepa and David Fry, who were great mentors of mine and many of you in the audience. And from there, Tom Walsh and I said yes, and we expanded it to an executive committee along with an advisory board, and now we are Grand Action 2.0.
And you mentioned the word hiatus. What was the thing that put you back in the game, where you and Tom said, okay, now is the right time?
We did, in 2016, we did a destination asset study, and it came back with a dozen ideas of how we can continue to enhance West Michigan and the community for everyone. And it really worked out well because we started looking at that list, and the amphitheater and the soccer stadium were at the top. And then, of course, while we were reorganizing and restructuring, COVID hit. Which,
perfect timing.
Yeah, well, actually, unfortunate not for everyone, but for us, it was good because then we could start the ball rolling. We could, like I say, reorganize, get everybody on board, and start doing our due diligence of what it may look like, where strategically they should be located, and how much it's going to do for West Michigan and all who live here.
Carol, I've got to imagine you have a few things going on, typically.
Just a few.
Why would you personally accept a challenge like this when you got all these other balls in the air?
Yeah, I have a lot of reasons, I guess. First, I was really honored that people asked me and felt that I earned my stripes. And that's what we do here in West Michigan. We earn our stripes. You don't do it for you. You do it for everybody. And I was so humbled. And then I have to think about Jay and Betty Van Andel, Rich and Helen, Gillette, Myers, Secchias, all those people who in West Michigan were deep rooted here. And they did it for the joy and for bringing happiness to the people of West Michigan. And I feel that way too. I feel very indebted, and that we who are in West Michigan. It's just such a joy and a pleasure to be a big part of West Michigan.
It's awesome. It's been said that the first iteration of Grand Action provided like $3.5 billion of economic development in Grand Rapids. Do you guys think that 2.0 could have a similar impact?
Oh, I definitely do. I just see these two projects right now bringing economic viability. The soccer stadium, we're looking at providing over 300 some jobs. The amphitheater, over 600 jobs. It will take us 2 years of construction, but overall, like in 32 years, we'll probably bring net for the soccer stadium over, close to 500 million, and the amphitheater probably close to 900. So I think we're going to get there pretty fast because there's not just those two, there's others to be done.
Well, and not to mention everyone else that'll follow you guys in the surrounding area. Yeah. It's very exciting. I'm going to have to spend more time in Grand Rapids, I think. So okay, 900 million and 500 million. Does Grand Action have specific plans for other development around those areas, or will you let other people kind of do their thing?
Yeah, I think we're going to let some other people do their thing. That's what happened when the Van Andel Arena. All of a sudden, restaurants started popping up, retail, bars, and just made it, a very exciting place to live and work and play.
And that's that was the success of Van Andel Arena, was all the bars and restaurants that came around. Mm-hmm. And similarly, same thing will happen. That's very exciting. We just saw a great video from Acrisure this morning. They've donated $30 million for the naming rights. I'm sure a similar donation would be welcome for the soccer stadium. Talk a little bit about...
Yes, hello.
I don't know how the Kirk...
Anybody?
Well, I don't know how the Kirk family's doing right now, but, probably talk to them after.
I'll have to get to know them.
But talk a little bit about, these are huge numbers. Yeah. Talk a little bit what it's like in the fundraising environment right now.
It is a different...
Unless anybody wants to raise their hand, we can just get this over with. Yeah.
Or talk to me later.
Okay.
I'll turn the mic off. It is a little different landscape right now with fundraising. Thank you to Acrisure for the gift. It's an incredible gift. The landscape has changed. COVID, like I said, didn't do us any favors, and many companies took hits. And we are happy to receive any gift, and if you need to give it over 3 or 5 years, we are very accommodating towards that. But back in the day when I'll call them redwoods, such as my in-laws and many other community leaders were still around, you could pick up the phone and literally call a handful of people, and that project was done. And then everybody else would help participate in it. And now it's a little different. They have moved on, and there's more generations coming up, but now we are reaching out to hundreds of foundations in businesses, in communities, to be a part of something that's greater than themselves.
You talk about some more of the broader outreach, but a similar thing happens with generational families. And I know you have your sons here with you today. Talk a little bit about how you guys handle that internally, maybe when you're looking at big projects like this, and how you relay that to the next generation and the importance of that, especially in a place like this.
Well, I think you have to look at projects and the next generation. Unfortunately, we're not going to be around forever. I am, but
yeah,
I don't
right.
know what.
We're working on it.
Yeah, right. I'm coming up with something at the Institute, I think. Yeah. You have to start looking at the next generation and that future of what they may want, not what I want. It's their generation and my grandchildren's generation. And what I loved what we did at Grand Action 2.0 is on the executive committee and the advisory board, we have the next generation that we feel, and I know some are sitting in the room because I see Margaret and my son Kyle and Aaron and a few others, that we feel are going to be the next community leaders. And we want them to be mentored and to learn from us now. How does it all work? Who do you have to collaborate with? Who do you work with? Who are your first phone calls? So that this continues for generations to come. And the amphitheater in the soccer stadium was very appealing to that next generation, especially my sons who all played soccer.
I'm sure. And that was going to be my next question, is
Yes.
how important is it to get them involved at this time? And obviously,
It
means
is.
a lot.
All my sons serve on our foundation with me and my husband. My two sons in the audience today, one serves on Grant Action 2.0 Executive Committee, and they both are serving on the soccer stadium committee. I think it's very important. And they serve on boards in the community. By the way, I'm not like advertising for them, but they're really good. And I think it's important that I say that to organizations out here in the audience, you've got to start tapping into the next generation. You really do. Because you think, it's like those before us that have gone, you think they're going to live forever, and then it's like, oh boy, now what do we do? So you better start thinking that way.
Not a proud mom at all. No. But talk a little bit about the public piece of this. State legislature, more important now than ever. Has it changed at all, the need for bipartisan support at a state level? And what role does that play in these projects?
I don't think the bipartisan role has changed at all. I think they have to, the city has been awesome on our projects, the county. We meet with all the state legislators. I think they have to understand this is not political.
Yeah.
We're all going to use it. It doesn't matter what political party you're in, what ethnicity you are. We are all in it together. And it's unfortunate if some think, well, if I don't get this, you don't get that. That's not the way it should be. We should.
Politics.
Absolutely. And it's unfortunate.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we
well.
don't let it distract us.
Right.
Grant Action 2.0 is going to make these projects happen, whether they're on board or not. I guarantee it. And we just can't let it distract us.
The downtown market 10 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was one of the last big projects of Grant Action. What's happened in Grand Rapids in the last 10 years? Is it easier or more challenging to get a deal done? And is the environment make your job a little bit? I mean, there's so much has happened in Grand Rapids.
I think what I will tell everybody here, as in a leadership position, you have to bring everybody along. It's harder for you if you're going to say, I'm doing this whether you like it or not. You have to bring everybody along. You have to sit everybody down. That's why we did focus groups for our projects. We went out to all the communities and said, how will this benefit your community? What can we do so that your families will come into downtown and enjoy the amphitheater or the green space? You have to bring everybody along. And if you don't, I think it's harder.
Sure. One of Grant Action's guiding principles is it's our nature to be creative and successful and never finished. You had mentioned, and I don't want to jump ahead here, but you had mentioned 12 projects that were on a list, and we picked the top 2.
Yeah.
What is this organization doing to set the stage for other projects, other community leaders, and next gen?
Well, I think we did set that with the next generation of community leaders. We're really focused on our 2 projects right now, which is something never been done by Grant Action. 2 projects at the same time. It's pretty awesome.
And not small ones.
They're not small ones. But we are looking at the list. I'm not going to say there is a third one out there. I'm not sure about Grant Action, but maybe. But there's a pretty substantial one, but I can't tell you what it is. So you're going to have to come back
here,
next
right?
year.
Yeah, we're just friends here. No one will say anything.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so then paint us the picture. What does success look like? You mentioned community involvement. I've heard you say green spaces and everyone is welcome. But for Grant Action 2.0, getting these 2 projects off the ground, but what is success for you?
I think success for Grant Action is building a dynamic community, and that it is a community for everyone. That is success.
I like that. and I know you mentioned other things, but in your mind already, I mean, are you day to day on these, or is there something else maybe out there that's real personal to you?
This is pretty day to day.
Okay.
Right, Kara? We're kind of on Zoom like every day, and I love it.
Good. There's a lot of projects going on in Grand Rapids, and another major product in the restoration of the Rapids, right downtown. Mm-hmm. Do you guys all communicate? Does this have an impact on Grand Action? Is everyone working together, trying to make sure things are all happening at the same time?
Yeah, actually, the Grand River restoration is always comes up in our discussions. If you look at the amphitheater design, it's designed specifically to enhance the Grand River project. So it looks like we'll have like a nice walking border to go along. But we even thought about, okay, what if people are kayaking and they want to make a pit stop, and maybe we can insert some places where they can stop and they can get out of their kayak and go have lunch at Bistro Bella Vita or go to Founders or something. We're thinking in all those directions to help enhance, because that's what we're about. We're all about collaborating. I think of Grand Rapids or West Michigan. We're putting a puzzle together, and we're like, amphitheater is a piece of the puzzle, the soccer stadium, the Grand River, and we got to make sure it all comes together into a beautiful picture.
That's right. Speaking of that beautiful picture, Grand Rapids is frequently on the list of best mid-sized cities in America. What do when you think about Grand Action's long-term plans, how does it play a role into that recognition as best mid-sized cities? And what does Grand Rapids need to do to keep this positive momentum going?
We always talk about how we can make the quality of life better in West Michigan for everybody, whether it's financially, even spiritually, there's physically, there's so many different ways in which we can do that. And I think keeping that in mind, that we're doing it to not only enhance the community, but enhance it for other people to enjoy, that it will continue. And obviously, as I mentioned, we want the next generation to continue that.
I see a theme coming here. All right, Carol, we appreciate you being with us so much today. You've got a room full of West Michigan business leaders. What is your, other than fundraising, what is your message to them as we move through 2024 and beyond?
Well, first of all, I want to thank you all very much for being who you are, being a part of West Michigan, making this community a great place to live. I know you had a question about, can other cities be like us? And I'm going to tell you, we have a secret sauce here, and they're sitting in this room. People are the secret sauce of West Michigan. And we all do it not for us. We do it for others. We think not of ourselves, but how we can be a part of something greater than ourselves. And as a famous admiral once said, I don't care who gets the credit as long as the job gets done. So thank you for getting the job done.
Ladies and gentlemen, how about a round of applause for Carol Van Andel. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Have a wonderful day. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.